And welcome into Views from the Sideline. It is September 11th, 2018. Welcome into the show. I am one-third of your hosts, Chris Pappas. Got Joey Tysick and Malik Hill. What's
Hi.
up, guys?
Oh, just first week of NFL football.
Oh, man, it was a doozy, wasn't it?
Not much to talk about.
I'd say there's plenty to talk about. But before we get into NFL, on today's show...
And Malik, I'm back too.
Yeah, Malik's back too. He's here.
Yeah, don't just
I thought-
gloss over me.
I thought
forgot
you said
to
hi.
mention me, man.
I know I said Malik Hill.
He did say your name.
Oh, okay.
Come on, I ain't gloss over
You
you.
got to speak up.
Never.
You got to speak up for yourself.
Didn't hear him say
You got to
that.
give yourself
It's okay,
props
Malik. I
before
mean-
anybody else here is going to give each other props.
But
so
I gave him... I introduced him.
cool. Let's move on.
Joey's not in a great mood today, so
We're moving on.
Like Joey said, not much news.
No, we're
yeah.
we're gonna break down U of M this weekend. Same with MSU. Talk some of that Lions Jets game. Then we're gonna jump into our Southwest Division preview. Let's go straight to U of M because there's not too much to talk there. They did what they had to do. They won 49-3 against Western. Anything that stood out for you guys that you want to talk about when it comes to that game?
Well, I expected them to improve. They usually, last year, whenever they played mediocre to bad competition, the offensive line looks really good. The run game is really good. The quarterback isn't too bad. Shea Patterson is really talented, so he finally got to show off what he could do even more this game. 3 touchdown passes. First touchdown pass to a wide receiver since September of last year, which is
Dang.
insane to think about.
That's crazy for a football team in general to have a year from getting a wide receiver a touchdown is crazy.
Yeah, a lot went bad last year, but yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones and Tariq Black caught touchdown passes. Defense was good as usual. Yeah, not much to say.
Yeah, I mean, they did what they had to do.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
They
did
had a
exactly
really
that.
good run game too, though. I think it's part of Western's defensive line not being very good, but this was a solid win. I mean, Western might not be that good this year, but they're usually a good program at least.
Oh yeah, they should be solid in the MAC. They shouldn't
And-
be a bad team in the conference.
Right, and they're one of those teams that can always cause some scares for teams. So this was good for Michigan to just take it to them and show them that they're still there. Michigan's not done yet, but you got to keep winning.
Well, I mean, the positive for Michigan is, yeah, they did lose week 1, but they lost to a ranked opponent or top 15 opponent
Yep.
on the road to start their season with a first-year quarterback for them playing in their system. On the other hand, MSU, they won week 1, little shaky win. Week 2, it wasn't so good. They go on the road to Arizona State, and like our Malik Hill said last week, be careful. It's a trap game. Guess what? ASU upset MSU 16-13. Comeback win. Last second field goal. All right, Malik, I'll let you take the floor on this one since you kind of predicted this one coming.
Yeah, I honestly thought that I still knew MSU had a good chance to pull out the game, and they did in the last few seconds. If Arizona State missed the kick, they could have gone to overtime, and MSU still could have won. But MSU has a lot of problems they need to fix. I knew N'Keal Harry at some point in that game would make a play that would really make an impact on the game. That go up and get it ball he got for the touchdown to tie the game. I knew it would happen at some point, but he did it at the biggest point in the game. That offensive line for MSU, they've got some real problems. Michigan and Michigan State have a lot of things in common right now. Offensive line problems. LJ Scott, I don't know what happened. All the promise and the talent that he showed in his first 2 years at Michigan State. This is supposed to be the year he's really supposed to just explode and become that guy. And it's still time for him to do it. But in these first 2 games, it's looking like even with a bad offensive line or below average offensive line, he has enough talent to make some wow runs. And I've seen him do it before, but it's just not happening for some point. His backup is looking more impressive than him a lot when he comes into the game.
And that's what I was going to say, too. You touched on it before. You kind of went off that point. He has a lot of time left in the season. It's 2 weeks in. Yeah, it's against lesser opponents for that matter, where you should see LJ Scott produce a little bit more. But there's still time. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until kind of probably mid-season.
Yeah,
That's when you can kind of start to delve into
Usually start to figure it out around game 5 or 6, and then they win a big game in their division.
Yeah. Yep.
But also very undisciplined, which is surprising. Penalties still came back to bite them. Things that from Mike D'Antonio team you don't expect to see at
And
all.
don't they have a lot of
So,
seniors back from last year too,
Yeah,
right?
most of their team returned. Very surprising. I'm happy for Herm Edwards though. Everybody doubted Herm.
You were talking about
I'm
that
very
too.
happy he's
Yeah.
starting 2-0.
What'd you think, Joe?
Yeah, this was tough. Michigan State had no running game whatsoever. Couldn't get anything going. The offensive line has struggled. And I think Lewerke carried the ball for 8 times and negative 12 yards.
They're relying way too much on him. He
And-
can't be the one thing that pushes that offense.
He's not
to
Kirk
win.
Cousins.
Well, he was all. He was
He's
all
he's
Big Ten
very
last
talented.
year, or something.
He is no Kirk
He was
Cousins.
either
though.
second team or honorable mention.
Yeah,
but
he was. He was
in-
somewhere up in the Big Ten for quarterbacks.
Yeah, he has the talent.
Yeah, he's a solid quarterback. I'd say honestly, he's. I haven't watched Lewerke. Like I was at Michigan State when Kirk Cousins was there, and I'll be honest, I didn't think Kirk Cousins was gonna make it to the NFL necessarily, or be as good as he's maybe becoming now. But I think Lewerke has just as much talent as Kirk Cousins did in college, so I think he's there. It's just there's no protection whatsoever, and it just looks rough. And I know Michigan State's probably used to winning. It's been a winning culture for a while, and now they're going through some turmoil a little bit. It's a little bit of a struggle, and they just have to work out of it. And like we keep saying, I think D'Antonio will get those guys going, and they'll figure it out. But this is one of the tougher seasons that they're going to have to go through. I don't want to make an excuse for them, but I do think having to go to Arizona and play a late game with the jet lag and stuff, that does play an effect. You don't want to, like I said, you don't want to make excuses for your team, but there is a little bit of that I'm sure affected them at least. But you got to kind of look past that, and you got to just work harder, and they got to come back, and they got another big game next week
At Indiana. A few
That'd be a tough one.
years ago, they lost at Indiana, and that started the spiral that led to a 3-9 season.
Right.
It's big. They got to win this game to get the confidence back into them.
Yep.
I think it's time to talk some NFL. There was a game on last night.
Do we have to?
In case you guys didn't know, there's a game.
And what a scene behind. You can see the reaction on the Jets bench. That's because all the Jet fans in the house have moved down right behind the bench. And there you go.
And that's what happened last night.
I have a question for you, sir.
All right.
What's the track record of USC quarterbacks?
It's not very good.
National, besides Carson Palmer, who's pretty good.
It's not
What's
very
your
good.
track record.
It's not very good. That's all I'm going to say. It's not very good. But I will say this. Regardless of my opinion of both teams, I said it on the show last week. The Lions look shaky. I was worried about them going into this season.
It's more than shaky.
It's more than shaky, and I'm 100% right on my opinion going into this year.
This looked like the 0-16 team.
This did not look good. They start off this season with a bang. First play of the drive, Sam Darnold's first career pass attempt, picked off by Quandre Diggs, pick 6. Ford Field's going insane.
That's one of the worst passes.
That was a terrible pass.
I mean,
yeah.
just decisions I've
But-
seen all the way across the field.
I mean-
although he's the youngest starting quarterback in NFL history,
And-
but he knows he can't make that type of.
Also, he was a turnover machine.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of he's got to work
He's
through
known-
that.
yeah.
He's known for that. But man, the Jets, regardless, their defense looks really good. Their offense, the Lions made their offense look like a top 10 offense in the
Yeah.
NFL this year. When their offensive line is terrible, they're not going to have much. They're playing with a rookie quarterback. They made Sam Darnold look like a pretty good game manager. So, Joey, I want to get your first thoughts because you're really a positive Lions fan, to say the least. You're a glass half full when it comes to your predictions, your thinking of the Lions. So, just week 1, you even said, I think on the show last week, they got to win this game.
Yeah, I've said multiple times that I thought that if they lose this game, the season's over, and I'm kind of still going with
So,
that.
Joe, is the season over?
If they lost that
It's-
game by 1 point or by a field goal, would you feel the same? way?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's the type of loss that really
exactly
shows it for me. If it was a tight game the entire time and they lost it at the very end, I wouldn't say the season is over.
Potentially. I don't know. I might think the same way. It's hard to say. Because sometimes like when it's a blowout like this, and you can kind of just like shove it off to the side. Like that was, an outlier. Like we're not going to get blown out like that again, which we could, but I don't think we will.
You don't think we're gonna get blown out like this again?
No,
So
I don't see
you're in
it.
for a long season.
I don't see it
Joe.
like that. I don't see it like
The
that.
Jets did this to us at home,
Right.
prime time.
And I
You had
think,
an extra day to prepare,
yeah.
but you don't think it's gonna happen again to a better opponent when this is probably the easiest game on one of the
Yeah.
top
I-
3 easiest games on the schedule.
I think you take this as an outlier. I pretty much though, like I said, I think the season's pretty much over. Going into this game, I would have said their season is like 50-50 up in the air, whether they were going to have a good season or not. Now it's like 90-10. And there's still a chance. They have some games that are kind of a 50-50 toss-up. And if they can win those, maybe we'll start to reverse the trend. But it's not looking good, that's for sure. Especially when one of the biggest problems last night was Matthew Stafford. And I am one of the bigger believers in Matthew Stafford. My brother and I argue year after year after year after year. My brother doesn't like Stafford, wants him off the team.
That game was an outlier for him.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That game was
And
an
I think
outlier.
so, too.
I felt bad for him too.
But
He was battling through some hits too. He got hit pretty good, dealing with a little bit of a
Right.
knee injury. His knee did bend pretty good.
Yeah, but
on that hit.
I don't know, why didn't Patricia just take him out?
I don't know.
Like-
Stafford probably forced him. I know you're the coach and you got to make the decision, but
Yeah.
I'm sure Stafford's like, no, I'm not coming
he
out.
needed to sit, and I haven't put it out on Twitter. I don't use Twitter a whole lot. But
If I had a siren noise, I would have
Yeah.
played that.
I said Stafford needs to sit, and this was like midway through the third quarter. He's only making himself look worse, and we don't want a Nathan Peterman out here. And he just looked off. Like everything he threw was bad,
He just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
and he was forcing throws, and it wasn't always just because of the offensive line. I put a little bit of blame on the offensive line for certain
Him
things.
and the receivers are
I was
on
gonna-
point
but
either.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
he
Wherever
was
he
just,
threw it, it looked like the receiver was supposed to be there.
They weren't
or
running the
someone
right
was
routes.
supposed to be
right.
there.
There was some sort of
But, yeah.
miscommunication. He had forced throws. He just didn't look like himself. And
It just wasn't his night.
I assume he'll come back and he'll be better against San Francisco. But again, another one of the biggest concerns for the whole offense, 15 carries for 39 yards.
The offensive line is not.
And I understand in the
Performing.
second half that we're down by 31 points or whatever. So take that away. But even in the first half, they didn't look good running the ball necessarily. LeGarrette Blount went down early with an injury. So then you got to see Kerryon Johnson, which he had a couple good carries. But,
Ziggy went out too.
yep, Ziggy's
LeGarrette
out.
Blunt only carried it a few times.
Yeah.
Right.
But to me, he kind of looks like he might be done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well,
To me, it looks like he doesn't have that same.
He got his
I-
chip.
I was surprised that they used him like at the midfield area. I thought he would be more of like a specific red
Well-
zone guy.
I think that kind of tells you everything you need to know about their run game heading into this year.
They have no idea who they want.
They have no idea who they want, and they have no faith in. Well, they don't have the faith yet in Kerryon Johnson, or they have no faith in Amir Abdullah. He was on one of the 7
I
inactives.
never saw him. Yeah.
He was inactive for that game, and Amir was kind of. Don't get me wrong, he fumbles the ball a lot. He's not really the greatest running back, but in certain instances, he's very shifty.
He had a good year last year.
He had an okay year. I won't say it was good, but he doesn't hold on to the ball very well. One thing that I think people got to start putting the blame onto is Jim Bob Cooter. Some of these
Yes.
offensive play. This is his 4th year, year number 4.
He was the
We-
only personnel that wasn't changed out in this new
Why?
Patricia era.
Why?
So a lot of the offense is the exact same that it's been. So yeah, I agree. People need to start pointing at Jim Bob Cooter. A lot of people are already saying, "Oh, let's fire Matt Patricia. Let's get Jim Caldwell back." Well, we can't go back from that. But
That would be such a Lions move.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
well, Jim Caldwell would never do that. I don't think.
I mean, if you
but-
offer anybody the right money, they'll do
Maybe.
about anything.
But for Jim Bob Cooter to still be on this offense and the offense to still be struggling, something's got to change. They need to sit down and really think about this offense and what they want to do with it, because they've been trying to push this run game year after year, and it's not working.
There's 2 things that they need to do with this run game. I can tell you that right now. I understand they've been trying to get offensive line help. I will give them that. They've tried year in and year out to try to acquire talent to kind of bolster that offensive line. It just hasn't panned out. But go get a running back that can actually produce. I mean, like Garrett Blunt, that's your big running back acquisition. Come on. The dude's like 33 years old.
We haven't
30 years
totally
old.
seen what Carryon Johnson could do
Right.
yet, but he's
if
a
you're
rookie.
gonna,
yet.
that's what I'm saying.
He's
If
a
you're going to put
rookie.
your faith in a rookie for a team that everyone's talking about, we're going to try to make a push for the playoffs. I understand if you're rebuilding, if you're just trying to play your young guys, then yeah, go with Carryon Johnson. It doesn't matter.
And I understand your point, but at the same time, and I'm not comparing him to these guys,
I hope.
but rookie running backs are at a premium right now. And so you take a risk on a guy in the second round where they move up to go get him.
I'm not knocking the
They're-
move.
They're looking to potentially have a almost franchise changing running back at what position they had in the draft. So they go offensive line and then they take the running back, or they move up to get the running back so that they have this new offensive line. Hopefully it'll stay healthy, and then have a new running back that can maybe change the course of this whole run game.
Did Frank Ragnow play center? I don't believe he did. Didn't he play like right tackle or left tackle?
I actually wasn't paying attention. I felt
'Cause
like
I
they
feel like
said
he
on
did-
the broadcast that he played center, but I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe. Because I know that was one of my issues heading into the year that they haven't played Ragnow at center. So if they
Yeah.
did, then never mind. But
And another thing too, a lot of people are starting to point out that maybe the offensive linemen aren't doing, what they're supposed to, and I can agree with that. Maybe they're not what they have been. They're not getting to their talent level that they were drafted, at least. But there is a certain thing of the play calling that maybe the way they're setting up blocks isn't working, and the play calling can be a part of that. I'm not saying that's,
that all comes down to Jim Bob.
but I think it's a push and pull between Jim Bob Cooter and his offensive line and how he's calling these plays up, how they're drawing them up.
And I'm sure Matt Patricia wants them to go in a certain direction.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's gonna be tough. They got San Francisco, which is another should win game, but we'll have to see. I think this game was an outlier still. I think Lions played worse than what the Jets played good, although the Jets looked better than I thought they would. Their defense looked really strong.
Secondary looked really good.
I think that's another big concern is that the Lions defense
Looked terrible.
really just like disappeared. Like we were saying before
They have
the
no
show.
pass rushers. And then we said that last week. They have no pass rushers
Right.
on this defense. And that's where the Jets kind of beat them up.
Yep, and especially with Ziggy Ansah going out
Yep.
for the game. And you let Isaiah Crowell run over 100 yards on you, you got a problem. I'm not saying he's a bad back, but he's not one of the top guys.
He's not a top 25 running back.
Right. So it's a little concerning that both sides of the ball are struggling. I think the offense will figure themselves out,
I'm worried about the defense. Though.
but the defense, yes. And the secondary looked okay. But man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the secondary. I didn't have too many issues with that. Darius Slay went out too, didn't he? He came back. He came back in the
Yeah.
second half. But like some of the Jets receivers just made good plays. Like Robbie Anderson when he just took that ball, that Sam Darnold first touchdown pass. That was just a good play by Robbie Anderson. It was well covered. Just wasn't knocked down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had no issues really with the secondary as much as the front four and the pass rushing. So,
Another minor thing too is that when I saw Stafford go down, I was starting to get concerned. But at least this year we had Matt Castle to come off the bench. I like having a veteran presence. As soon as he came in, he threw a pick,
I'm still upset they cut Jay Gruden.
exact.
and
I'm
I was
with Malik.
disappointed.
I mean,
Well-
Rudock, you have more potential in, and if there was some question with Stafford, if there was some question, then I'd understand keeping Castle. There's no question that Stafford, when he's going to be on the field, when he's healthy, there's zero question.
Right.
Why not have a younger quarterback be set up as your backup, learn from Stafford, kind of go through the motions with Stafford, and just kind of get that feel for it? I did not like the move. I feel like Castle only got the job because he played with New England, played with Patricia. And the Lions are just being the poor man's New England, the real poor man's New England Patriots right now. LeGarrette Blount, Matt Castle, you got Bob Quinn in the front office. You got how many New England personnel in the front office?
Castle also had a good career with Kansas City, but
He's
I-
washed. Let's be honest.
I'm
with
actually the
everybody here.
opposite. I like having the veteran guy that if your main, like Stafford's locked in, he's going to be our quarterback for a while now. And if you have from my thinking, is that if you have a veteran quarterback, he's ready to go at any point. He's been in these situations where he can just jump in and play. So that's why I liked Matt Castle. But like I'm saying, when he came in,
Yeah, he
definitely
clearly wasn't
concerned
ready
me.
to go.
Right. But I'm just saying, going into the game,
For sure.
those are my
All right.
thoughts.
New England assistants have a horrible track record as head coaches, and I still don't understand why they fired Jim Caldwell.
Hey,
Yeah,
That's all I have to say.
the only good thing is at least all 7 rookie coaches over the weekend lost.
Why?
So
Who
we're not the
cares?
only one. I'm just saying.
A loss is a loss, regardless.
Every
of
team that
everybody.
hasn't-
Oh, you guys lost too. Okay, I feel better about myself.
Caldwell
It doesn't
had
matter.
Caldwell
gotta
had
take
one
him.
of the best stretches as a coach in Lions history.
Got to
Yeah, I
take
was-
them where you can.
I'm not even a big Patricia fan, to be honest with you.
I don't think before that game I wasn't sure, but after this game, nobody is.
Yeah, I was hoping more for the Patricia defensive side,
Yeah,
and we
that
definitely
worried.
didn't
No.
see that. So that was the biggest concern.
I mean, like you said, next week on the road in San Francisco, if they lose that game, Joe, it might be about 99-1.
Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo might
yeah.
pick
I think
them
it's
apart.
99-1.
You know, and to be anything before we move on to, you guys have anything that kind of stood out for you week 1 NFL? One of my things is Jimmy Garoppolo, regardless of he threw some picks.
That Vikings defense.
That Vikings
tore him up.
The Vikings defense is
my
one.
God.
To me, it's a top 5 defense in the NFL.
Oh yeah. Still.
Jimmy held his own. He got him into position. More so, the San Francisco defense got him into position. to
And
win
I
that
think
game,
4 San Francisco players left the game hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not good for them.
I'm not picking the Lions to win week 2. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
I'm not.
See, I got to stay positive only because I still feel like the San Francisco offense is just not there. Yeah, they have Jimmy Garoppolo, but
You know, let's do this. I want Lions predictions for next week.
okay.
All right, Malik, I'll give you a second
Lions predictions.
for next week. Just give me a score and who
Oh,
wins. I'm gonna go Joey first because he knows what he's talking about. Joey, what you got? Lions prediction week 2 in San Francisco.
Let's see. What?
Let me see the pen.
Why?
Just write it down.
I'll remember it.
All right, whatever.
I'm gonna go Lions. Man, who's on San Francisco's defense?
They have some pass rushers. DeForest Buckner was getting all up in Kirk Cousins' face last. He had a lot of QB pressures.
I'm gonna go with the Lions, 28-17.
28-17,
Yeah.
really?
So that might be a little bit positive, but
A little bit.
I'm going with the 49ers 31-14.
wow, you guys are
31
really flipped the script after
31,
one game.
14. Well, I wasn't really confident with them to go anywhere anyways.
I don't have faith in
Um,
our O-line.
Yeah, I agree with
Their
Malik.
D-line will probably hit Matt Stafford a lot, even when he gets the ball out. And I don't think our D-line is going to do much to
I'll
get
say
Jimmy Garoppolo on the ground.
35-28 San Francisco.
And my score is basically going off of Stafford.
That's why I have him scoring 28 points.
I think I have him coming back and maybe just having one of those Stafford will the team to victory moments.
If they win, it's going to be because the DBs made a bunch of plays, and Stafford makes a really strong comeback in week 2.
The defense definitely has to step up, especially with San Francisco not having the greatest running game as well. And I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have the greatest targets either. He's got an aged Pierre Garcon. Who's on the other side? I can't even think of their wide receivers right now.
They have
But
Dante Pettis, a rookie from Washington.
Pettis looked
Okay.
good
He caught
week
a
1
touchdown
too.
pass.
Yeah, he looked good.
yeah, he was pretty solid in college. So the teams are somewhat evenly matched, and I don't know. I gotta hope for the best at this point. But after this game, we get Patriots week 3, so
Good times.
then
It'll be fun.
Good
then it'll
times.
pretty much be over. So
All right, and then we'll check in on these predictions next week. We'll I feel like we want to keep like a little bit of go
Last
ahead.
thing
Malik.
about
Yeah,
NFL,
go
John
ahead.
Gruden. This is going to be a tough season.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
Because Khalil Mack, what he did in that first half.
what was the finals last night too? Like 33-13 or something like that.
Yes. But the things Khalil Mack did to that Packers offensive line, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
that was also an outlier.
Not
game.
good for the NFC North
he's,
either.
He's a mega talent on defense, but
He ain't gonna do that every night.
Yeah, that's one of those games that
You know what he's going to do to
he
the
came
Lions
out. He
offensive
came out
line.
with. He
I
came out with a
can't wait.
purpose.
All right,
That's
so,
going to be fun to see, even though I'm a Lions
yeah,
fan.
we'll keep tally of our Lions predictions throughout the season. I
It's
don't
gonna
feel
be
good.
all over the place.
I don't feel good for Joe. I really don't. I feel like he's got way too much hope in a lost franchise, to say the least. But let's transition here. We got to talk some hoops.
Speaking from someone who has hope in the Magic.
No,
Well,
I
I
got
don't have that much.
irrational hope. Irrational hope.
I don't have. We talked about the Magic last week, and where did I have them? Like at the bottom of the barrel in the
I'm
East.
just
Yeah, see, you're a realist when it comes to basketball.
But I like the Magic as a team.
Thank you, Joe.
I like their personnel.
Southwest Division. That's what we're
Yeah.
predicting this year, or right at this show rather. Dallas Mavericks. I want to start there. Break it down for you. Last season, they finished 24-58, 13th in the Western Conference. Over the summer, they added a big man, DeAndre Jordan, 1 year, 22.8 mil. They drafted the next coming Luka Doncic, Jalen
coming what?
Jalen
You're gonna
Brunson,
finish that phrase,
and
Chris?
Devin Harris in free agency, and then
Next
they
coming.
they lost Seth Curry, which actually I think is a decent loss. Doug McDermott, Yogi Ferrell.
You said they brought back Devin Harris?
Yeah,
Oh.
they brought back Devin.
Devin needs to retire.
Hey, he's collecting that
He's
paycheck, man.
looking like Darren Williams out there.
First question. This is kind of going to be like a staple question throughout these kind of predictions too. I'll start with Malik this time. Are the Mavs trending up, or are they trending down heading into the next season?
I think they're trending up. It's not a big up though. I think
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan is the type of player that really makes a huge impact on a winning team. But I think on a losing team, he's going to get a lot of rebounds, but I don't think his play is going to lead to many wins for
Yep.
the Dallas Mavericks.
For sure. Joe,
We don't know what Luka Doncic looks like yet. On
Yeah,
an
talk
NBA
about
court.
glass half full.
you guys sleeping on Luka?
But
That's all
I
I'm
like
saying.
Harrison Barnes. He was on my most underrated list. I like a healthy Wesley Matthews.
You're too high on Wesley. That guy's a little bit
He's
washed,
always been
man.
consistently good when he's healthy.
I gave up
That's
on him like
yeah,
2 years
once he
ago.
tore that Achilles. I mean, good for him. Collect the money, but that boy's done.
I mean, yeah, it could be too bad for him, but I hope he shows
I mean,
what he had 3-4 years ago.
He's a threat from the perimeter. He's a good
Yeah.
catch and shoot player. It's just he's not going to beat you with any speed or athleticism to get to the rim.
JJ Barea is a really good backup point guard. I really like JJ Barea.
Yeah, Joe, what you got? Dallas, are they trending up or trending down?
I have a slight breaking news. It's very slight. The Lions have fallen to 27th
saw
in the
that.
power rankings. I think
Those
they started
are-
top
those
20. They were like
Extremely
18 or
important
19.
power rankings.
So, yeah, just so everybody knows going into week 2. Dallas is definitely trending up. I don't know how much up. It definitely depends on Luka Doncic. I think DeAndre Jordan helped secure their paint. That's been one of their issues lately as Dirk has been aging. They don't have a lot of big men. They have young men and Dwight Powell, who's looked pretty good. But
What do you expect out of Dennis Smith this year?
I expect big things. I'll be honest.
Really? See,
Yeah, I think just because he has some players around him, especially if Doncic can be the scorer that people think he's going to be,
Yeah.
then he'll be able to spread the floor. You have DeAndre Jordan in the middle to be able to lob it up to. I think Dennis Smith is going to have a really good year, and I think Dallas is going to be exciting at times, but at the same time,
That's what really excites you about Dallas, though, Dennis Smith.
oh yeah, he's electric. What are you talking about?
Dennis and Luka in the backcourt. That's what everybody's coming to see.
Yeah.
They're coming to
That's
see
what everybody's
Luka.
coming.
Plus you got
Just Luka.
DeAndre. He's going to get dunks every time.
Yeah, he's gonna be
Um,
exciting.
Yeah, I think the Mavs are slightly trending up. I just don't care for the DeAndre Jordan pickup for a 1-year deal for
Yeah.
a guy that's 30 or 31, whatever
Yeah.
he is. It's just like you're trying to
I think
be
it's an
slight-
experiment just to see like what their team can do with a little bit more talent.
but you're being slightly competitive. I feel like Mark Cuban's just trying to be slightly competitive so people show up to see Dirk in his final season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care for it. I wouldn't have liked them to. If you're gonna draft Luka, you got Dennis, you got all these young kids. I rather see you're not gonna compete in the Western Conference. Why are you spending that money on DeAndre Jordan?
But just to play devil's advocate
Yeah.
here, what are you saving your money for? Dallas is notorious for not being one of those high marketable places, even though you have
they always
Mark
go
Cuban,
after. Well, they always go after these big time players,
but they don't get any of them. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of talk that they're gonna get DeMarcus Cousins. No doubt.
Well, because they didn't try to go for DeMarcus.
Well, they tried a little bit.
They didn't offer him any money apparently.
Right. I'm just saying that that's kind of been the notion. So I think they wanted to get a signing and figure out what this team could maybe be in
Maybe.
the future.
Gives
And because again, if they save for maybe next year, I don't think they would get somebody as good as DeAndre Jordan, even though that there are so many good free agents next year. I think they're all going to fall elsewhere. So, I mean, Dallas is just kind of in one of those weird middle grounds that they're kind of just in trouble because of the Western Conference.
How
Yeah.
much longer do you think Rick Carlisle has?
Honestly, it's
I don't think he has very long.
I think Rick will be the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks for as long as he wants to be. I think Mark Cuban has full faith in him. I mean, he delivered a championship when he
He did.
actually gave him a team. They haven't had a relevant team that competes in the Western Conference really since that championship team. Because Mark he blew it up after the championship to kind of aim towards that summer of 2013 where they struck out, and really then they aimed towards that rebuild where they drafted Dennis Smith, then they signed Harrison Barnes because Golden State when they got KD. They haven't really given Rick Carlisle much to work with. So I think Rick is there as long as he wants to be.
I also think he could take a job somewhere else.
Yeah, I could see it too.
A better opportunity.
Yeah. Rick is so widely respected within the league that he wouldn't be a coach sitting on the market for long. Yeah, what I'm excited about when it comes to the Mavs, I mean, 2 words. Luka Doncic. I mean, that's my rookie of the year pick.
Give us some stats predictions.
Stat predictions?
Yeah.
Oh, putting me on the spot. I mean, these are not
Is
confirmed.
he going to be the leading scorer for the Mavericks?
No.
Will he lead in a category?
Yes.
Which category?
Assists.
That's possible.
I
That's
got
the most
Luka.
realistic, honestly.
I'll say
I think he's a better passer than Dennis.
I mean, you can't lock me into this because you're putting me on the spot here. But
Whoa.
You're
That's
the
all we
one
do.
that believes
That's all
in
we
him.
do.
All right.
That's all we do around here is we
13
lock
points
people
per
in.
game. 13 points per game. Almost 7 assists. A steal. 3, 4 rebounds.
You
13,
think that's
7,
going to
and
be?
3.
You think that's going to be enough to make Rookie of the Year with this pretty strong rookie?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Who's,
I'm not sure if that's enough.
I'm not really high on DeAndre Ayton. I'm not. I
don't think he'll be the focus point of
who's
that
I'm trying to think of
Suns offense.
him with some rookies this year that are gonna
DeAndre
Potentially
Ayton,
Marvin Bagley.
Trey Young.
be Bagley could put up some
Bagley or
numbers.
Trey Young, I think, have one
Trae
of the
Young.
higher potentials.
But I think maybe we'll see. I still think Luka Doncic is going to be the best player from this draft class though. Season outlook, I got him as a bottom 3 team in the West. I mean, Jordan doesn't make a big difference for them winning wise. Like we said, he's going to fill stats, maybe fill some seats, but they're not going to do anything. I got him at 28 and 54. I believe that's what they were last year. I think I have them for the same. Oh no, they were 24 and 58. So a 4-game improvement. 13th in the Western Conference, just like last year. Malik, what you got?
I'll give him 27 wins.
Okay.
I'll give him 3 more.
Okay. Joe?
I just made this on the spot because I forgot to do my things. I give them.
Of course he did.
What did they win? 24 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving them 25.
Okay. All right. Moving on. The class of the Southwest Division, the Houston Rockets. Last year, 65 and 17, first in the West. And they kind of had a busy summer. They added Carmelo Anthony via free agency, Brandon Knight via trade, Marquise Chris, a young guy, via trade. They re-signed CP3 4 years, $160 million. Re-signed Clint Capella, 5 years, $90 million. Re-signed Joey's guy, Gerald Green, 1 year vet minimum. They added Michael Carter-Williams and former Piston James Ennis. On the other side of things, they traded Ryan Anderson, lost Trevor Ariza, lost Luke Richard Baumute, and their draft pick, DeAnthony Melton. So with all these moves, it's kind of, do you buy into the Carmelo Anthony effect, I feel like, going into next year? Because they lost Trevor Ariza, who was really just a catch-and-shoot guy and a defender. Are you buying into the guys they bring in, this Carmelo, Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris? That's what it comes down to. Malik, are they trending up or are they trending down?
I think they are going to drop off slightly.
Really?
Just a little bit, though. I can't have a lot of confidence in what this team is until I see it on that court because that James Harden, Trevor Ariza, Chris Paul,
Yeah.
that nucleus that they put together, that was almost perfect for what they wanted to do and for what Mark D'Antoni wanted to do.
Let me rephrase my question here. Did the Rockets do enough this offseason to dethrone Golden State?
No.
Hard no.
I don't think so. I don't think.
I mean, they were up 3-2 last year. I mean, if CP3 doesn't go down,
Yeah, if
there's an
CP3
argument
doesn't
to
go
be
down,
made that they actually
but-
come out of the West.
You lose Trevor Ariza, you add Carmelo.
You're not buying into the Melo hype.
I'm not sure.
I know Joey is.
I still don't think Carmelo is willing to play.
That's what it comes.
He's not willing to play a role different than what he's played. If he was willing to really become that defensive guy, do what you have to do, hit open shots whenever you have to, not just when they give you the ball and you can ISO every time. I still think Melo is that guy, the just ISO guy.
No, I agree with you completely.
I'm not sure. I don't know how efficient he will be this year.
I think the jury is still out whether he will fit into the mold that they want, the role that they want him to play.
Honestly, PJ Tucker is a better fit for this team because of that
You
3 and
said
D
it,
role.
not me.
And how honestly, Carmelo Anthony isn't a great fit for what they've done.
I agree with
and
you.
how good of a team they were last
Unless
year.
Chris Paul can sweet talk him into doing it. But, I mean, from what we saw last year and years prior in his career, Carmelo has said everything about not coming off the bench and wanting to get his touches. This is not the fit for that.
The ball's going to be in Chris Paul and James Harden's hands.
Yeah.
James Harden's going to take the most shots. Melo better be able to accept the role he gets.
Exactly.
That's
Joe, what you think?
Houston's on a slight downturn.
Okay.
And I think that's just, again, I think because the West around them is getting better again. And I think the Carmelo move is almost a lateral movement. Maybe in the long run it might hurt. Trevor Ariza definitely gives them a good defensive player. But as we said it multiple times, he struggled in the playoffs. Carmelo definitely struggled in the playoffs as well. And like Chris said, Carmelo's one of my guys. But I definitely think Carmelo will have a bit of a bounce back year. I'm not talking we're going back to the Knicks Melo. We're definitely not going back to the Denver Melo.
So what Melo are we going back to?
But we're going.
Do you think D'Antoni's gonna let him be full-fledged ISO Melo?
No, there's no way.
What kind of Melo do you think we're gonna see this year?
I think it's more going to dictate from Chris Paul. I think that difference is going to be huge for Carmelo. I think Westbrook and Melo don't mesh as well as Chris Paul and Melo do. And I think that Chris Paul will be able to find Melo. And I said it before, I think Chris Paul might be the third option on this team.
No.
And Chris
Strong
Paul
disagree.
will take the sacrifice for Carmelo. I
agree.
I think
Yeah.
Chris
What?
Paul will.
Chris Paul's he's that unselfish.
He's
And
unselfish, but for Houston to do anything this year, if you're putting the ball in Melo's hand, taking it out of CP3's, you're not winning 60 games
Chris
this year.
Paul knows much more than us
Yeah.
about
I think-
what Melo
yeah, and
can do,
that's
especially
what-
when they play
No,
together.
I agree with you. That's why I don't think he's going to give Melo the ball as much as you guys think.
I think Chris Paul he'll figure this out, and I think he's the big key for Carmelo Anthony this season and how that all plays out. Because James Harden's going to do what he's done for the last few years now, and Chris Paul I think still should be maybe their closer, unless James Harden is having one of those games. But I think throughout the first 3 quarters, Chris Paul is going to try to get Carmelo involved because obviously you're better if Carmelo is playing well. And he's going to be an important factor no matter what because you brought him onto this team and he's another offensive weapon and they're looking to run up the scoreboard. That's how they beat teams. And yes, I know they added a lot of defense last year, but I think they still have guys that can implement that defense. And I think it's going to work out. I don't think they're going to be better than they were last year, but I think it's going to work out.
All right, hit me with this since you're on the topic. Your season outlook for the Rockets.
I have them at 60-22.
Big drop. That's a 5-win drop off.
Right. But like I said, I think it's because the
West
West,
got better.
is still getting stronger.
Fair enough. What seed?
Probably the 2 seed still.
Okay. Malik, what you got?
Because of what Joey just said, I've slightly turned my tune. I don't think there's a drop off. I think they might stay.
They were the 1 seed last year.
I'm gonna go back. There will be a little bit of a drop off, but Chris Paul knows what he's doing.
Okay.
And I believe Carmelo will listen to him.
Okay.
And Chris Paul knows when to shoot, when not to shoot, who to give the ball
All right,
to.
so-
Chris Paul knows. I'm going to give them 58 wins.
Ooh, well, apparently he ain't know that well. Dropped 7 wins.
That's still one of the top teams
All right.
in the NBA.
Would you think top 3 seed then
I'll
in
give
the
them
West?
a 3. I'll give them
You give him a 3 seed? I
Top
think
3 seed.
All right.
Well,
Well, you
who's
guys
your number 2 seed? That's what I want to know.
Well, Lakers, baby. I got them as a top 3 team in the NBA. This is one of the true championship contenders heading into next season. I have them also going down a little bit, but not nearly as much as you guys. I have them 64-18, first in the West. Golden State, to me, they don't care about the regular season. They'll be ready for the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to compete as much as the Rockets will in the regular season and push for that home court advantage. So that's why I got the Rockets 64-18, first in the West. Moving on. Slight switch up here. The Memphis Grizzlies. They were trash last year. Let's be real. 14th in the West, 22-60. But that was mostly due. Mike Conley was out for most of the year. Marc Gasol was out for most of the year. They fired David Fizdale early in the season. They had JB Bickerstaff be interim head coach, and now he actually has the head coach title heading into this season. They added Jaren Jackson Jr. in the draft. Really good pickup, in my opinion. And I wasn't high on him early. When he drafted him, I was not high on Jaren Jackson, but he showed out in the summer league. They added Kyle Anderson, kind of paid a lot, 4 years, $37 million. Added Shelvin Mack, Garrett Temple, Omri Caspi, and drafted Javon Carter. And they didn't lose too much. They lost Tyreek Evans. I think that's a decent blow. Ben McLemore, Deontay Davis, and Jarrell Martin. I think they're trending up. I think they're trending up based off health. If they stay healthy, they're going to compete in the Western Conference for maybe the 8th or 7th seed. I think they're in that 7 seed to 11 seed range.
You think the Grizzlies
are in the 7 to 11 seed
I'm
range.
actually in
Playoffs.
agreement with Chris.
If they stay healthy, that's the big key here. Kind of like the
Marc
Pistons.
Gasol and Mike Conley.
If they stay healthy,
people forget about Mike Conley and Marc Gasol.
And they added some good pieces to complement them. Omri Caspi can stretch the floor. I like Javon Carter. I do. I think he'll actually play a role. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to play a role. Garrett Temple still one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA and a good defender.
Kyle Anderson is solid.
I'm not high on Kyle
Dylan
Anderson.
Brooks is the guy people need to watch.
I like
That's
Dylan
true.
Brooks.
He was really good for them last year.
But yeah, I got them trending up. And if they're healthy, don't sleep on them. What you guys got?
I have the Memphis Grizzlies stuck at mediocrity, which is basically kind of what Chris said. They're kind of in the similar boat as Dallas, where they're kind of just in trouble, but they can be decent and they can compete in games. And that rough, gritty mentality that Memphis has always had, I think will still be there. I think Mike Conley and Marc Gasol being with David Fizdale for so long, I think that will help. There are some solid veteran leaders on that team. And I think like Chris
wait,
said,
they were with Fizdale for 7 games.
I know, but like that
Wait, what?
grittiness.
Okay.
And then they learned some things from Fizdale.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just think that the Grizzlies are always a solid team, and I think all the role players that they have.
Yeah, they've always been solid when they're healthy.
Right.
Malik, what you got?
If they stay healthy, I see them getting slightly better than last year because Mike Conley
Slightly better. They were 22
Slightly better.
wins, dude.
slightly better.
You only
25, 26 maybe.
if they're healthy for a full year, I think they're winning 25, 26 games.
Besides Marc
Malik,
Gasol,
I can't.
Besides Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, what is the talent?
Those are 2 huge players. Those are 2 all-star players in the Western Conference.
But the rest of them two
You just
are
said
good.
don't sleep on
But
Dylan
the
Brooks.
team-
You love Jaren Jackson Jr., Kyle Anderson.
I don't
from the
think
San
Kyle
Antonio-
Anderson is
okay,
gonna
I
make a
agree
big
with you,
impact
yeah.
for them.
But Garrett Temple's a good player. Omri Caspi. Those are just additions.
Omri Caspi is good sometimes. Besides them two
All right.
and Dylan Brooks getting better, the overall team I don't see.
All right, hit me with this then. Malik, season outlook. What you got?
If they get to 30 wins, that would be a huge.
Is that your
improvement.
prediction? 30 wins?
No.
Okay.
If they got to 30 wins,
Okay.
it'd be a huge improvement. How many did they win last year?
22.
22. I will give them 28.
28?
Yes.
What do you got? Like 14th seed, 13th seed in the West?
I don't
Okay.
see that team. I don't think JB Bickerstaff.
I don't
just
care
gonna-
for him as that coach either.
That's he's a big part of it. And
Fair enough.
with just those 2 players and a promising Dylan Brooks.
Fair enough. Joe, what you got? Season outlook for the Grizz?
I like Javon Carter too, but I don't see him making a huge impact this year.
Okay.
This is going to be tough, and they definitely have to stay healthy.
I'm basing mine off health because
Yeah.
I can't.
That's definitely a big factor
Yeah.
for this team. But I just think, I don't know why, but I'm going to go with 40 and 42.
40 and 42? Solid. I got 38 and 44, finishing 11th in the West. So that's kind of like one of the fringe playoff teams for me.
JB Bickerstaff is doesn't do it for me.
I understand.
If
I
Lionel
understand.
Hollins was still there, I'd say they are a potential
Lionel's been
playoff
gone
team.
for like 4 years now, man.
That's the guy I believed in as their coach.
We're going with the Joey's second team in the NBA, the New Orleans Pelicans. Last year, they were 48-34, sixth in the Western Conference. They added Julius Randle, Alfred Payton, Jahlil Okafor, Ian Clark, Troy Williams, and Tony Carr. But they did lose 2 big guys, DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo. Pelicans are trending down for me. I'm not high on the Pelicans coming into this year. They're an Anthony Davis slight injury away from being in the lottery. If AD misses 20 games, they're not getting close to the playoffs, and he's been riddled with injuries throughout his career. I think the bigger loss for this team is Rajon Rondo than DeMarcus Cousins. Rondo was huge for chemistry, huge for leadership, and huge for how they played offense. I think Julius Randle and Nikola Mirotic can kind of fill the void for Boogie a little bit, but you can't sleep on Rajon Rondo. Huge loss for the Pelicans. Joe and Malik.
You can go ahead.
I think this team has a little bit of a drop off, but I don't think a huge one, because I think his name just slipped from me. New point guard,
Alfred?
Alfred Payton is much like Rajon Rondo. Of course, you can't say he's just like him, but his style of play is much like Rajon Rondo.
I agree.
But I think chemistry and leadership plays a huge role, and that's something that you can't really give
it played
Alfred.
a huge role. But even though Rajon Rondo was the point guard and the leader for that team in that playoff run, Drew Holiday's emergence, when Drew Holiday is healthy, he showed what he can do for a team. He's a fringe all-star player when he's healthy, and he showed that. Nikola Mirotic was a
who'd you
huge
say was a
pickup for
fringe
them. Drew
playoff
Holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Fringe all-star
Okay.
player.
Okay.
Yeah. Nikola Mirotic was a huge pickup for them. Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis. He's one of the best in the league. I expect Alfred Payton to play good for this team. I expect him to be a very smart player that distributes the ball and scores when he needs to. Nothing too much. They've shown they can play well without DeMarcus Cousins. And as long as they have that good point guard play, I think they can still be around a 7th or 8th seed.
All right, let's do it, Malik. I'm going to hit you with it. You think they're a 7th or 8th seed this year?
I think 7th at best.
I need definitive. You guys told me you had to put me on the spot for Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Give me a definitive seed and wins for the Pelicans.
I'm giving the Pelicans 43 wins. I'm not sure if that gets them in.
I don't think that gets them in.
I'm not sure if that
47
gets them in.
wins got the 8th seed in last year. 47.
Yeah, that means they might be around 9 or 10. So I said a slight drop off.
So you think they missed the
So,
playoffs? Okay.
Yeah, they might miss the playoffs
I
this
agree.
year. But they come together more as a team later in the year. And they push, but they might not get in.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the Western Conference just got better and better this offseason. Lakers are going to make a jump. Clippers are still a solid team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're a solid team that's going to take wins away from better teams above them. My season outlook, I got them as a fringe playoff team, kind of in that same class as Memphis for me. I just don't think they have enough guard depth. Drew Holiday is really their only guard that I believe in. Outside of that, I'm not sold on Alfred Payton like Joey is. I'm not sold on, or they lost Dante Cunningham in the offseason as well, someone that spread the floor. I got them 41-41, 10th in the West, missing the playoffs. Joey, I'm really interested to hear your take on your New Orleans Pelicans.
Man.
Rajon Rondo was a huge loss. I'm still upset about that. I still have them slightly upward. I think they
Wow.
made some great moves in the offseason. What they had to deal with,
Slightly upward. They were 48 wins last year.
right?
You think they're going up from 48?
Yes, slightly.
Joey.
I'm telling you.
I'm guessing you mean 49 instead of 48 when you
I'm-
mean slightly
I'm
upward.
telling you.
All right, continue.
I forgot about the Jahlil Okafor pickup.
That means nothing. Dude's
Honestly,
That does not mean nothing.
Dude's
honestly,
trash. There's a
He's
reason
been
why.
in horrible positions.
There's a reason why he was
still
waiting
has all
until
that talent.
August. And
He still has all that talent.
you guys are gonna waste time on Jahlil Okafor. Last season, again, this is another team that health is a big factor. If Anthony Davis goes down, obviously this team plummets. But if he stays healthy or just misses a few games here and there like he has in the past couple seasons, I think they're going to be good. Anthony Davis proves it time and time again. He's a beast. He's almost unguardable at this point. And I think Alfred Payton is going to be a solid pickup for them. I agree with Malik where he's a similar play style to Rondo. He's definitely not there yet, obviously. But he's still young. He's improving. And I think Drew Holiday can take a lot of pressure away from Alfred Payton because he can handle the ball a lot. And I mean, I don't think Drew Holiday really had an emergence. It's that people forgot about him because he's been injured the last few years. And he finally came back and showed he's one of the better players, especially two-way players in the league. And the biggest signing that you guys are both forgetting is Julius Randle. That's a big signing for them.
Completely forgot about that signing. Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to use him necessarily. If he's going to be the sixth man and they'll start Mirotic.
That's what I think.
But I think if they do that, I think that's a good way to do it.
You know what they could do? They could start Julius Randle at small forward.
At the 3. I thought about that too.
And do the 2013 Detroit Pistons, baby. Josh Smith, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond. That's
back to the
feel
Pelicans.
Like. Well, that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. If you start those 3, that's what it's going to be like.
No, because
you don't know that.
Nikola Mirotic can shoot the ball.
Jay Smooth can shoot the ball.
I don't think so. He proved us wrong.
I'm just joking.
And then Julius Randle has been very much improved, especially last year. I know maybe he's a little bit overhyped, but I like the outlook, especially if he's going to have possibly just as big of a role as he did on the Lakers, maybe even a little bit more, depending on how the Pelicans want to use him. But again, one of the weaker points for this team is depth, obviously. Dante Cunningham is a little bit of a blow. They're starting 3.
Etuan Moore is really
right.
their
He's
shooting guard.
He's kind of up and down at how well he plays. So that'll be interesting to see, but I do have them slightly upward. And it's just one of those
what's
just one of those feelings.
All right, what's the win total?
50 and 32.
What seed? If you had to guess.
Probably 7.
You think 7?
Yeah. I mean, you just said it. What? 48 wins, made 8th?
47.
47.
Oh, yeah.
I also think Trayvon Blewett is going to really impress.
I think they can be 6 or 7.
I don't think he's going to play. I think he'll play 2-way. I think he'll be play a lot in the
I think he's gonna
G
play.
League. We'll see.
He's a knockdown shooter.
He's young.
Like we said, Etuan Moore, that's not hard to overtake.
Let's get to our last team, the San Antonio Spurs. Last year, 47-35, 7th in the West. Crazy offseason. They acquired DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, Lonnie Walker IV, Marco Bellinelli, Dante Cunningham, and they re-signed Rudy Gay. Meanwhile, they lost Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, Kyle Anderson, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. Called it quits. Are the Spurs trending up or down? It's a good question. Last year, Kawhi played a total of 4 games, or 7 games, whatever it was. Spurs are trending up for me. They acquire all-star talent that will actually play next year. Jakob Poeltl, I think, can be a decent center in the NBA. I like Lonnie Walker. I really like that pickup in the draft. I think he's got something about him that he might stick around here in the NBA. So I think they're going to be slightly up, maybe not slightly up in win totals, but they'll be back in the thick of things, and they'll probably be a better team, but they're playing in a tougher conference. So I got the Spurs trending up.
I'm going to echo exactly what Chris said just because it's the same exact idea. I think they're trending slightly upward, but it's kind of a lateral movement, at least in win total. And like Chris said, Kawhi didn't play last year, basically. Now you get DeMar DeRozan, who's actually going to play. So if they won 47 without Kawhi, I think they can win just as many with DeMar DeRozan in. The only thing that hurts is losing Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili for that veteran leadership. But I think now LaMarcus Aldridge has been there long enough to understand the system. And again, Lonnie Walker, I think, is an up-and-coming player. He has a lot of potential. Definitely needs to improve on a lot of things, but he's like a high-risk, high-reward kind of guy. And I think getting Bellinelli back to this team is really good for them to stretch the floor. Danny Green has been struggling a little bit in the last few years, so I think that's kind of almost a lateral movement, maybe a slight improvement. I'm not as high on Poeltl, but, I mean,
he's a young center.
Right. He's young, so you never know. He could be something good. And
Pop gets his hands on him.
Yeah, you got guys like Aaron Baines, Thiago Splitter, like those guys all thrived in this organization. So I think he'll be just fine. And then you have Popovich, so that's a big factor. I think they're going to be about the same in win total, but they will improve overall.
And what's the other thing? The Spurs have been in the playoffs for 22 straight years or something like that.
Yeah.
They snapped their 50 win streak last year with 47, but I mean, it's gonna be, you gotta be a little risky to pick the Spurs to miss the playoffs.
Right.
Malik, what you think of the San Antonio Spurs?
I think the Spurs, it's not about them going up or down. They're going to be exactly where they usually are, honestly. I think DeMar DeRozan, I've said this before, I think this might be something like an MVP season for him. I think he's going to be on a warpath.
I think this is a coming out season.
I see
for
him averaging like 27, 28. He's going to be mad every time
I would
he
love
plays
to see that, to be honest
basketball.
with you. I'd like to see
I
it.
expect him to play big. LaMarcus Aldridge is still there. He's going to be consistently good. Rudy Gay is getting older, but he's still a good player out there. DeJounte Murray is just getting better. You add Marco Bellinelli, who's
One of the better shooters.
who was a fantastic player in that system and played really good last year
Yeah.
for Philadelphia in the playoffs. Young guys like Davis Bertans,
I like Bertans. He played
Yeah.
decent.
Bryn Forbes is a knockdown shooter. Like you said, Lonnie Walker is a really good young pickup. If he shows any promise during the regular season, that's a big help.
Yeah.
This is a team that's just gonna stay consistently.
And they're going to
good,
get the job
they should
done.
make
They'll
the
get the
playoffs,
job
yeah.
done. Joey, season outlook for the Spurs.
I have them right about the same. I have 48 and 34.
Okay.
I think they're going to just squeak in and make the playoffs again. And I think it's just going to be kind of like they're going to squeak in because they're the Spurs.
You got him as their 8th seed. Yep. Malik, what you got?
I think the Spurs could hit 50.
You got him at
I think-
50?
I think
You're
they-
penciling 50?
I think they could hit 50. I think they'll be between 47 and 50.
You know, here on the show, we like definitive answers. So I'm going to have to nail that down here.
Making these predictions instantly is so hard. I'll give them 50 wins.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, if
I will
DeMar's
give
going to,
them
if
50 wins.
you're so high on DeMar, I mean, that makes sense to win 50 games. I really hope DeMar comes out and has a career year like you're thinking. That'd be cool. I got the Spurs as a fringe playoff team in the West. That's different saying that in the East. Competition's going to be crazy tough this year. 45 wins might not be enough to get you in the playoffs again this year in the West. I got them at 46 and 36, just making it into the playoffs, 8th seed in the West. So that will make my first round matchup be Houston versus San Antonio in the Western Conference playoffs. That's it, guys. Broke down the Southwest Division. Confident? Not so confident?
In my choices? Of
Yeah.
course I am. What are you
I
talking
don't.
about?
I don't know.
I can't, I can't
I
wait.
have no idea.
I can't wait for the Pelicans to prove you
It's
guys
so
wrong.
hard to predict these, man.
It's going to be great.
No, it is. It is.
It's so
tough.
hard. I feel confident about the Spurs.
You feel confident?
Spurs pick,
I mean,
yeah.
I hope DeMar. I'm a big DeMar DeRozan fan coming into this next season. So if he can bounce back and I want him to drop 50 points in Toronto. That would be so fun to
That'd
see.
I'm telling you, the
amazing.
Pelicans, meet me on 2K.
Meet me on 2K.
2K.
Happy 2K day to everybody today
That's
too.
true.
In stores, go get your copy.
Whoa. We're not selling anything here.
I like 2K. All right, we'll see you guys next time. See ya.
Bye.
They shouldn't have fired Caldwell. Shouldn't have fired him.